Yo yo, what's quackalakes? We are back with DML today, and we actually have an interesting black market. Not that I'm going to be purchasing this myself, but you'll notice if you take a look at the black market, which is Mr. WHALEMART, the cutie pie over here. There is a value-packed deal, it says, that has pieces for the legendary HONEYCOMB DRAGON. So you can actually outright buy pieces for Honeycomb. And the reason why this is interesting is because this guy was a Dragon Master Pass dragon, which means that to be able to fully unlock him, you needed to purchase the Dragon Master Pass. But now they give you the opportunity to get pieces of him with just regular gems, which technically would mean that he is free to play obtainable. The only problem is, each piece is 75 gems each, which does mean, with some very basic calculations, that's going to be another 11 by 75 gems, which means he would cost 825 gems to unlock. So I'm definitely not going to waste 825 gems on a legendary, but if they continue like this and we get more deals in the WHALEMART, like a couple of pieces here and there, maybe even in exchange for a different set of currency, maybe we can actually get some of the old Dragon Master Pass dragons. So keep that in mind, just something to note for in future. We've also got Relics of Hatching and enchantment tickets in this WHALEMART, which is really good, so definitely take those. The premium sigil chests I'm not going to buy, because if you're going to buy the premium sigil chest, you're probably better off waiting until there's the ×5 in here. That is usually a better value. But along with Honeycomb, of course, with it being Friday, we do have the updated event schedule as well for next week. And the only thing to really take note of is the fact that we've got a boss challenge next week with Deep Light inside, and we've got the catch-up dungeon, which does mean that if you are missing any dragons from the current ancient event, there is still the chance that you could get them, although the chances are very, very low. So keep all of that in mind for today and going into next week. Aside from that, we have 2 new boys to get hatching. The first one I'm going to hatch is going to be this guy, big chunky boy, because we unlocked him the other day by opening up some of the ancient chests, and we got the pieces for him. This is, of course, the legendary Shade Brute, and he is a legendary Void and Shadow Dragon. So he definitely has very, I guess, shadowy elements, very dark sort of themed elements. But the Shade Brute dragons seem to be loyal foot soldiers of the Shadow Ancients, but they're far more curious and intelligent than they are aggressive, unless you light a lamp near one. So yes, he's definitely a big fan of the shadows, and he would probably beat you up if you put a candle on. So don't do that. If you're gonna go near a Shade Brute, just do not put a candle on. So the good thing about Shade Brute is, of course, the fact that he is a legendary, which means more DCP. Unfortunately for him, he's not really very useful, and if you're going to ask, should you use Shade Brute on a team, the answer would be no. Because not only is he a legendary, he's a legendary with Void and Shadow. And Void and Shadow is just not a very good elemental composition for anything, really, but definitely nothing below Divine or Ancient. So, Mr. Shade Brute, as chunky and as wonderful as you may look, he is not very useful, so he will probably never be looked at again. Rest in rip him. The other dragon that I've got here is the dragon from the dragon board, and I actually didn't realise I'd unlocked him the other day, but I did. This is, of course, Mr. Warg. So he looks like a werewolf, but we've already got one of those, so instead we've got Warg. And he's an epic with shadow, metal, and water. And I can potentially see Warg being useful to someone that, say, has unlocked Shadow and just wants an early to mid-game team, and they need the elements that Warg has. I can see him having the unique elements that could, you know, do well on a dungeon team. And plus he's got metal, so metal could help you as well. My goodness, he has some big ears. But anyway, the Warg dragon is an ancient ancestor of the wolf dragon. It's a strong and energetic beast that's said to enjoy chasing the sun out of the sky. But that can't be true, can it? I don't know, just an epic chasing the sun from the sky? That sounds more like a god tier thing. Are we going to get an ancient Warg sometime soon? Is that why you're in this ancient event? Maybe he has some crazy powers. You never know. But yes, I do kind of like his design. You know, very wolfy boy. But yeah, I could see him being somewhat useful on a mid team. But of course, that does take into account if the person doesn't have divines or ancients to use instead. But he was from this event as well, so say someone's just played through this event and they got this guy, he could be useful. He could be somewhat useful, so keep all of that in mind. Mr. Warg, very pretty boy, although it looks like he's been in a battle because he's got a slash across his eye. Kind of scary. I don't like that. But now that we've got the potential for Dragon Master Pass dragons to have their pieces returning in, I don't know, they could return as non-gem amounts technically. It does mean that as a very minimum, you should be trying to hit at least the 3.6k milestone in the Dragon Master Pass. Normally we would say hit at least 7.6k for the extra Dem Relic, but if you don't happen to make it up to those those point milestones, then at the very least get to 3.6k, get as many pieces for the dragon as you can, free to play, and maybe they'll bring them out again one day in the future. So this is another reason why I say to people, you know, when you purchase things with like the Dragon Master Passes or any bundle dragons, just because you purchase them from a bundle, it doesn't mean that they are, or like a special offer, it doesn't mean that they're going to be purchased only forever. And that's happened with quite a few dragons, and like we've seen other dragons return in future events. There's never any guarantee that a dragon's going to return. But just in case they do, don't be too like destroyed about it. They may do one day, just don't hold your breath. Like in Roges and Bahajirs of the world, they may return, they may not, but there is always the potential. So that's why getting as many pieces of them as you can from like Dragon Board. Like for instance, I may not get Molim this time. In fact, it's looking highly likely I won't get Molim, but I should still try and get as many pieces of him as I possibly can. One, because we've got catch-up dungeon, and two, because they could come back to the game in either a WHALEMART or some other method, and then you would feel really, really annoyed if you could have grinded out the event a little bit more, gotten some more pieces, and potentially unlocked them free to play, if you know what I mean. So keep all of that in mind. But aside from that, we don't really have too much else going on in DML. It's just more dungeon grinding right now. And plus we've got that Noir Dragon Breeding Blitz, which you'd have to breed together Mentor and Hausk for this. And yeah, the breeding is not too positive, shall we say. If I open up DML Planner here, and we take a look at the Noir Dragon's breeding, you'll see that there are 41 possible outcomes, and it says there's a base odd of 0.58%. I don't remember if they said there's any boosted odds or not, but 41 possible outcomes is a lot. So your chances of getting Noir are quite low. But there is still the chance, so if you really need Noir, good luck. You know, maybe use some double egg relics and such, but it's probably not gonna happen if you've only got like 3 days left. Maybe it will. I wish you the best. I'm lucky that I happened to get all of these dragons when they come out. So, I don't think I'm actually missing any Dragon of the Month since release anymore. I think I've got every single one of them. So, yeah, even though some people are like, OMG, how do you get Dragons of the Month quacks? It's like, you just breed them. You just breed them, that's what you gotta do. And my goodness, I never realized how big is that his eyelash? His eyelashes are? My goodness, that is a very big eyelash. Or, yeah, maybe it's a weird form of eyeliner. I don't know. Anyway, my bird's screaming. I'm gonna have to go check on him. But for now, I appreciate you being here. And, Gameloft, do you want to bring out some pieces in a slightly less expensive way? I'll more than happily oblige you. But anyway, until next time, I hope that I can see you then.